Whoa, welcome to, or good evening, and welcome to episode 94 of Pillar Talk. This is the blind date edition because I still haven't met our guest right now, and I gotta wait until Josh reveals him finally. So, what's up, Nick Haddad?
Thank you. Very culturally appropriate. Appreciate that.
I killed it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Nick Haddad. I'm the owner of a company called Talking Dog Film, based up in scenic Lansing, Michigan, but have plenty of ties down in the Toledo area. Whole dad side of the family is kind of from there, so kind of a bit of a second home, always will be. So, so been running Talking Dog Film for a couple years now, and I specialize in, this is kind of the cliche niche word in the video world, but storytelling videography. It's a word that kind of just, is a bit of the crux of what my company does. So instead of, doing stuff like, hey, come on down to Big Al's car barn, it's a lot more, what's the story behind it? So maybe a little more personable, a little more promotional, all that sort of stuff. So do a range of things within that world, and absolutely love doing it. So
that was the thing that the first thing I seen on your website.
Yeah.
And then I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Was the first thing I seen on your website. I was like, visual stories? What does he mean?
Yeah.
What does he mean by this? And then I seen the video and I was like, oh, okay. It's more personal.
Yeah. And I mean, kind of the, if you want the entire kind of background core foundation of what it is, but like to me it's like I'm so drawn to like stories, and I think that's just sort of a thing that really connects a lot of us, whether wherever you come from, there's things that are just going to kind of bring us together, and oftentimes it is that story of like, hey, I did this, or I went through this, or that's a really beautiful story, let me hear more about that sort of thing. So I really appreciate you guys kind of highlighting that legacy film from this morning. You may not be able to relate to two 80-year-olds from Indianapolis, but there's just, hey, I can connect to that idea of loving someone and being in a beautiful relationship, that sort of thing. So
my fiance watched the spotlight this morning.
Oh, did she? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I told her, I was like, dude, we're gonna be a Joe and Bev. We're gonna do a video.
It's a good goal. Good to shoot for. So no, they are just, and it's just really cool because, especially something like that is, there's stories that they're telling that even their kids are like, I didn't know that. And it's a really great way to, just connect people. And so that's kind of the whole goal of Talking Dog, is just creating story-based, short video things that just sort of, find a way to bridge a really wideningly gapped world. So like Joe and Bev, that was like you spotlighted their relationship. Yeah. So that was
do you tell stories with the promotional videos you do and everything like that?
Yeah. So if I do a promotional video, I will try and make it a lot more story driven. So kind of like I said, if Big Al says, hey, I want to do a promo video for my car barn, I could do the cliche things you see at local, channels where it's, you do the sweeping shot of the car, you discount prices, come on down.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Big Al. Come on to Big Al's fucking.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but instead it's, okay, Big Al, why do you want to sell cars? Because if I'm going to go into Big Al and I hear like Big Al say like, when I was 12, my dad, worked as a mechanic and he told me the important, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so that allows me to have a better connection with Big Al, knowing that, that personal side and that story behind it. Again, I'm going to know what a McDonald's is. I don't need the personal journey of someone who works at McDonald's, but, if I'm pursuing a company or pursuing a need and I know that the owner or, a former client they have a really good story behind it, then I'm more inclined to approach that.
Yeah, because the one time you go up to a guy like, "Why do you sell cars?" I fucking sell them, man. What
Exactly.
do you
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put bread on the table. What do you want? Yeah. I mean, that's great, but
pan the fucking cars and I'll talk over it.
Because they put me in jail for some cocaine.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. And then you do okay, so what I have a question about is what's a testimonial?
Yeah, so a testimonial to me, that is, that was a lot more I do for like, hey, let me connect with a client's or a company's like former someone who just went through their business. So we'll just keep using Big Al. That's, hey, I go to someone who, they were in desperate need of a car, maybe couldn't afford it. Big Al found a deal with them. He talked with them. You hear those things of like, he treated us like family, which is great. But if I sit down and have a 5-minute conversation or 10-minute conversation and they tell me the background, tell me the history of like, I was so desperate and Big Al helped, like, of course I'm going to go to Big Al a lot more. So yeah, it's just, it's finding that, how do we make this more personable, more approachable? And if I hear, here's 50 different clients who say like, Big Al was like my uncle, I loved the guy, then I'm more inclined to go to Big Al. So,
right. Yeah, he was a real good guy. Felt like he was family.
I love Al. Yeah, he sold me a good Subaru.
Well, it was like the first time I went to this oil change place I go to. My kids were in the back seat. The guy gave my kids a Capri Sun and a snack.
Yeah,
for free.
Oh,
like yeah. So that's a cool story, and knowing, hey, this guy wasn't like gross kids. Like he's actually, I have the, I see kids, I see a need. It's small, but that's going to stick with you. So.
So you get the cool stories behind it, the personable. You try to make a personal
and now
connection.
I only go there.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, that's really all it could take. So
that's kind of what we do here, and that's what I said. I said he does a lot like what we do. He spotlights like the people and wants to hear the story behind it.
Yeah, and I don't know, just that whole philosophy of, it's stories that kind of bind us, that bring us together. I mean, I think too often we're just like, hey, what's that, reading a book by its cover sort of thing. I just see you, I'm going to put, keep you away, but, oh, here's a story. Like, oh, I went through that, or I relate to that. And so, yeah, I think it's a valuable piece that I'm just trying to help. So,
or just that's a good story, period, in general.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually fucking really sweet. What made you want to start doing it?
Yeah. So, do you want the long version or the short version?
Longest version you got, bro.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, I went to school, went to college for communications. It just, I grew up pretty much just watching movies and TVs. I was a 90s kid through and through. That was my babysitter. I remember at 4 years old watching Jurassic Park, being like, this is the scariest but greatest thing I'm ever going to see. And just that morphed my, journey. But so I always kind of liked media, liked all that stuff. And, growing up, my dad gave me a camera. I made movies in the backyard with my friends. None of them are good. No one will ever see them.
Any Jackass movies?
Yes. So we.
So you were a 90s kid. Okay.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, I was raised by Knoxville. Yeah. No. We had a few that just a poor man's version. But yeah, I went to school, did communications, and just started trying to find like a job in marketing because that felt like the natural thing, and quickly hated it because so much of it is, and you guys probably go through this just with streaming and all that. It's like, okay, how many social media hits did we get? How many likes? How many people signed up for our, notification email stuff? And, I love the creative side. I started doing videos within some of those jobs, but just, hated it. Got fired from 2 different jobs that just wasn't a good fit, really hated it. But the last one I got fired from was a retirement home. And, right before I left, I did a video similar to the one that I did for Joe and Bev, where it was a couple who they had entered the retirement home married. Both their separate spouses passed away. and then they met and then re-fell in love and got married in their like late 80s kind of thing. And I was like, this is a beautiful story. I love this.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks later got fired, but kind of left with that mindset of like, that was a beautiful story. That's something I want to capture. And so, you know, I just kind of started breaking it down, finding opportunities, finding things, you know, started doing like a lot of stuff for not-for-profits, still trying to do that. Just, you know, hey, what do you do if you're not-for-profit? How can I help? Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it really just kind of came down to, you know, I think stories are super important. I love hearing them. I love sharing them. I am an extreme extrovert. So just these kind of conversations are like liquid gold for me. And yeah, just kind of how do we figure out how to capture them? And I'm still trying to work on that because, you know, if all that say, if Big Al does approach me and he's like, hey, here's 10 grand, make a cliche movie for me, I'm not going to be like, pass. It's not personal, man. Sorry. I have my, but you know, it is because it's a little bit more niche, a little bit more unique. It is kind of a different kind of sell. So yeah, I kind of started going with that mindset. I had a couple friends who also did video. They said, dude, start a company, get it going, and you know, find your speciality and just kind of run with it. So yeah, that's it. It really just kind of came from just getting fired a couple times and just having a lot of people encourage me like, dude, just go do your thing. Go find a way to record stories. So
yeah, it's not going to hurt to try.
Yeah. No, I mean, I could have probably just kept grinding it out with doing random jobs or random marketing, but I just was unhappy. And I love what I do now. It's so much fun. I love the people I meet and the stuff I get to hear. So yeah, it's an absolute blast.
You do it full time now?
Yeah. So yeah, I you know, 2020, like for a lot of us, was definitely a slower season. So that was pretty much spent just, you know, I have a few things within videography that I do. I do a lot of like old video transfer stuff. So like all of your parents who have old VHS tapes and stuff, I can just digitize those. So that kind of kept me afloat. But
okay.
Yeah, it's a full-time gig. You know, depending on the video, it's anywhere from 100 to a couple hundred hours per video. So it's, when one comes along, it's a full-time gig. So
how many people have you worked with?
Over the years, I mean, I've off the top of my head, there's probably about 10 different not-for-profits. I've done 3 of those legacy films. I've done 3 weddings. Two weddings. And yeah, I've had a couple like starter things where I film some stuff and then they're like, hey man, never mind. I have no budget. I have no need for this. Thanks. But just keep that. So I've got hard drives filled with just unfinished things, just kind of sitting, taking up space that I'll delete at some point. But
so
yeah.
Even when you do the weddings, it's like a story too. You try to get the people.
Oh yeah. I mean, so that was, it was a bummer. So I planned on one and I talked to the bride and groom and said, hey, I want to like sit down with like your grandma or your parents and be like, you know, hey, what was the moment you realized they were in love? Or, you know, what advice would you give? And sort of integrate that. And I kind of had all that. And then the bride was like, no, just give me the cute montage with the Bon Iver song and the, you know, the montage. And I'm like, okay, if that's what you want. But yeah, no, I will always kind of pursue, you know, what story elements can we get that, you know, again, like to me, you know, I got married 3 years ago, and if I had footage of my grandmother sitting down and be like, I knew he found the one, I'd be like, oh, grandma, kind of thing.
Yeah, you can look at it later and fucking.
Yeah. You know, again, we don't watch the video often, but like years down the line after she passes or something, I've got that, you know, almost that precious piece of her just excited for me kind of thing. So
like a bit in time, you got to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so how do you go about getting customers? Yeah,
so it is the biggest thing. So I have a couple different ways. Still word of mouth. I think that is just going to be the eternal way.
Always.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you guys, it's just who can you tell? Who can you share? I mean, you're going to have Google and Facebook like, hey, give us money. We'll get you clients. And it kind of works. But yeah, it's a lot of it is word of mouth. I do a thing for not-for-profits because I've got a real heart for those. That is basically like a pay what you can sort of system, because right when I started, a lot of them would be like, hey, like we want to do something, but we have $0. We cannot afford it. Like we can't make this work. And I was like, okay, so let's just take out that factor. And if you can pay me $300, awesome. If you can pay me $1 trillion, great. I'm not going to turn it down. And so, yeah, it was literally just for not-for-profits. I would just kind of blind email and say like, hey, this is a thing I do. This is a thing I want to offer. Are you interested? And the amount of replies I get with like, what's the catch? Or, there's no way this is real. And, it's hard to offer, a service to someone in a almost free-like basis. And they're like, there's no way this is genuine. We just live in that world. But yeah, I've had a couple just like, we'll take a chance on this and we'll do it. And it's worked out great. And I've had great relationships, great things. But yeah, the legacy films that I have done have all just been word of mouth, just like, hey, this guy did this. And then someone says like, oh, I want that for my mom, or I want that for my parents. And yeah, and then just inbox fills up and, hey, how can I do this? How does this work? So
how does that go about? You just knock on this married couple's door, like, what's up? Your daughter wants me to videotape.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so weird because my experience, especially talking with like older people, they're like, I don't have a story. I'm boring. No one wants to hear this story. And, it is just sitting down and, you got to go through the whole process of like, I know cameras are scary. It's a conversation. We'll get through this. And, I usually kind of just start off some generic questions like favorite childhood memory. Tell me a silly story, your first job. And you can just kind of feel the discomfort going. And eventually it's just really a conversation like what we're having now.
Yeah.
And then the challenge is like the last one I did, I had 2.5 hours worth of footage that they said, okay, cut that down into a 10-minute, kind of piece for us. And, it's okay. What story is important? Which one doesn't matter? Let's figure this out. But yeah, I mean, it's a quick handshake, and kind of what you guys need to do is you have 30 seconds to kind of make a connection, or else you're going to have a bad conversation. And so that's just kind of where my extrovertness comes out. I'm like, hi, Gertrude and Bart, whatever. Traditional old people names, just like, I'm so excited, blah, blah, blah. And just sit down and let's chat. So
gotta get them. You got to get them open to talk, because nobody talk to random people.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And it's so weird how so many people, and especially in front of the camera, they shut down. They're like, I don't want to do this. I'm scared. And yeah, it's you got to get through a couple layers before they're like, yeah, I can chat about my life or anything like that. So
yeah, because at that point you got to say you're talking to me, not even the camera. You're just
exactly talking. Yeah. And so I oftentimes, I'll have the camera right behind me, and I will just say like, look at me, don't look at the camera. That's just going to be there. And then, like I said, I can see as I'm going, just slowly they're getting like, okay. Yeah. And then it's a great conversation. So
all it's like is like a weird person in the background looking at
right.
it.
Yeah. That's all just like, answer the question, Mom. Yeah.
Answer it with your truth. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
On, Mom. Tell the real story, Mom. Yeah.
Yeah. And in cutting down, did you have a good 2 hours of video though, or like, because usually you take a lot of fucking video and you only use a couple minutes of it.
Yeah. I mean, so it's, every time it's kind of like, I weirdly love video editing, despite it being just a very kind of solitary, you close the door, don't talk to me. It's just headphones, music, go. But it really is, and it's such a cliche, but it's a puzzle that you are, okay, you've rolled out all the pieces, all this footage. Now you need to cut, paste. Okay, this goes here, that goes there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like I had 2.5 hours. And so, you take out the sections where the question was asked or where they go to the bathroom or, their phone rings. You take all that out. But then it is just, especially if you have like an older person who like, I'm going to rant for, here's the part of the story. Here's 15 minutes of filler. Here's the end of the story. So it's
some of that is gold,
make that work.
Some of it's gold.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it really is. It's, there's an amazing story in there, but we got to get rid of the time where she's like, and then Lucille came and I was thinking, Lucille, why are you wearing that dress? And I'm like, Lucille doesn't matter. We got to get her out of there.
Yeah. We're asking about you, sweetie.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Lucille's
we don't need Lucille.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hope she's doing good, but don't talk about her right now.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure she's lovely, but she's not here. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, it is. And, the moment where it just kind of clicks, it connects, where you're like, oh, that now bridges. I mean, it's such a fun process, but I mean, I'd love to say I had a full head of hair before I started, and then all this stress has just made it go away. But that was going long before. But yeah, no, I mean, it's a lot of work, but yeah, when you get that finished masterpiece, you're like, okay, I'm good at this, and I love doing it. So. Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of videos in the Dominican Republic.
Yes, yeah.
You there a lot?
Yeah, so I have been there 4 times. Yeah, there is a not-for-profit down there called Vida Plena. Go look them up. They're doing amazing things. Where that is a not-for-profit in the Dominican right now. There's a lot of people who have come from Haiti. Basically just like, hey, it's really bad here. Let's go to Dominican. Okay. And, they don't have any papers. They don't have birth certificate. They don't have visas. And Vida Plena really hones in on Haitian women who basically, because they don't have any of that documentation, they're like, their only way to make money is prostitution or selling drugs. It is, rampant over there. And so their whole thing is come work for us, do dignified work. So they're doing, making bracelets and, all these kind of things that they then sell to Americans. And those funds are used to, get them their passport, their visas, their birth certificate, because sometimes they're born in some tiny village in Haiti. And how do we get that? Yep. And so, yeah, so I go down there, and I barely speak Spanish, took high school Spanish. That was about it. But just sit down with these women and just, okay, tell your story. And sometimes, like before, they're really reserved, don't want to talk, this is too personal. And then other times they're like, one of the most heartbreaking ones was a woman was sitting there and she pulled a child over. She has 7 kids. She said, this child was born because a man had sex with me for a rotisserie chicken. So she basically said, like, he said, I'll buy you that chicken, but you have to sleep with me. And now we have a child because of that. And so, yeah, I mean, it's such a like vicious cycle where they're like, I need to, sell my body in order to feed my family. Oh no, I am pregnant again. Now I have another. So it's just this vicious cycle. So, what Vida Plena does is just like, let's cut off that prostitution part and let's just do dignified, good work and, also just giving back to the community and doing all that. So, I mean, I know that there's a lot of things like that, a lot of organizations, not for profit. So, that are doing things like that. So, they basically just fly me down once or twice a year and say, hey, we've got a new, rotation of women. Just come sit down in their homes and, sweat your ass off because it's so fucking hot down there. And capture this video. So
yeah, That's cool though.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a it again, like, anyone who goes to a third world country, they're like, it's so humbling, it's so great, but like, a lot of the women now recognize me. They're like, Senor Nick, and I'm like, hey, don't speak Spanish, lo siento. But yeah, they're, they run up in hugs and, there's a lot of joy where they're like, you should be miserable and hate your life, but they're just so excited to be given the opportunity to do this. And so, for me to complain like, man, my AC is not working well, like they have nothing. So, it's a really humbling, good experience to do. So
do you like going to Dominican Republic?
I do. Yeah. I mean, it's weird because it's such a, to one degree, it's absolutely a paradise. The side that the tourism wants you to see, where it's like beachside resorts. It's beautiful. I've been there. It is beautiful, but you drive 5 miles in another direction and it's those, houses made of sheet metal or, clay, all that sort of stuff. So, the side you don't see. And, that's a side that, needs attention.
Yeah.
And so, if, I can fly down there, spend a week down there and just kind of highlight that, then yeah, I'm all for it. I love doing it. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Do you know sign language too?
I am learning. Yeah. So that was a guy here in Lansing who, has a real heart for sign language, said, "Hey, I'm starting my own business. I have no money. I can pay you like $50 or a cup of coffee per video." And I'm like, let's do it. And so, kind of learned through him a lot. And my wife and I are going to learn so we can, talk shit about people at parties and stuff without them knowing. But yeah, so, I mean, that's just another community that doesn't get a ton of attention. So, what can we do to highlight that need, or just a company that's trying to help with that need?
Yep. That my wife taught me how to.
Oh, did she?
Alphabet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All I know is the alphabet, but I know this is dinosaur.
Yeah. I mean, you got the essentials. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
I know
that's shit. That's what I got. So.
Oh, really? So
yeah.
Okay.
So it's you got to explode out. Yeah.
Was this play? This is play.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You want that? Yeah. You want to go play, and I'll shit on you.
Yeah. What a good invite.
Okay. Yeah. I want to learn. I want to be fluent in that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
If you could learn any language, it would be Spanish.
I had a 4-year-old teach me sign language.
Oh, really? Oh, no way.
No shit. That's crazy.
That's awesome.
Her parents are deaf, but she's not.
Mm.
So it was like an accident. I just met her and we were talking, and then all of a sudden she was being shy, So I hit my forehead and she started laughing. To find out it means like dummy or something like that.
Nice.
And she loved it. And then from there on, she was teaching me little things here and there.
Sure.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I know somebody.
Like the yellow and play are pretty much the same thing. Only yellow is like still, and then play, you shake it.
Oh, okay. So yellow versus play.
Yeah. Yellow versus play.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Yeah.
Because this is why.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So maybe, who knows? Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
My wife thinks why is this?
Right. It's I don't know. Yeah. Right. I think, and that would just be so, I don't know. Like there's a sense of like, I was a barista for years while I was trying to get video stuff up, and I had a deaf person come up and grab a coffee, and I was just so like, oh, I'm so freaking out. But like, just even knowing a few basics, I think would be so cool to just kind of, make them feel comfortable, because they're going their whole life just like, I'm going to write this down, cappuccino, or that sort of thing. So, yeah.
And it would be cool to learn that. And I got a really good friend that's Russian, and
yeah.
Because I feel like nobody knows Russian in America.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like he would really like to know Russian also.
Who does?
He's got a Russian accent, but he barely knows how to speak Russian.
He knows the gist of it, but he's so Americanized now that
he's lost it.
Yep.
He
spoke fluently on his way over here. He came over here at 11.
Oh, sure.
He graduated from American high school though.
Yeah.
So he had to learn English.
Yeah, sure.
He's still got that deep Russian accent. He's from Russia, but
people tell me like, he don't have an accent. I'm like, dude, he sounds like Vladimir Putin, dude. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Let's go to how you say McDonald's. It's like, no, you still,
Yeah, he's still got it.
American man, hell yeah. Yeah, no.
He can't really put his words together correctly,
Oh, sure.
but that's,
Yeah.
I mean, it still makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And if you could learn any language, what would it be?
Me? Oh, man. Yeah, I think I'm similar. I want to learn something that not a lot of people know. Spanish, I'll get to at some point. Sign language would be cool, but I don't know, man. Like something I think it'd be so cool to learn like almost a dead language like Gaelic or something like that. Like that's Ireland or like the language that the Maori people of like New Zealand speak or something like that. Like just something where it's like no one knows what this is, but it would just be a cool thing to just kind of like, oh yeah, got that in my back pocket. So
I want to learn Chinese so I can go to these
sure.
Chinese restaurants or these nail salons or whatever and
hear
them talking and be like, pound chong ka call pow.
Like, you don't gotta talk shit about me, bro.
Right. Yeah, I do. I have that desire to know a language and then hear people shit talking and then be like, yeah, like that's a dream that
I know hello, how are you? And it's ni hao ma.
Mm-hmm.
Ni hao ma is
yeah.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that, dude.
You're halfway there.
You answer with chi chi.
Is that good?
I'm not exactly sure what that one means, but that's the answer.
But that's good. Yeah. Okay.
I mean peachy or something.
Yeah.
That's good. Ah, man.
Yeah.
How far are you in sign language?
Same as you. Got the alphabet down. It's kind of trying to learn like some of the basics. Thank you. How are you? Just kind of like getting the core things. Just if I have 15 seconds, how can I communicate with someone sort of thing. So,
okay.
I taught my daughter candy before she could even speak.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Because she was throwing fits wanting candy and she couldn't talk yet.
Right.
So I finally I taught her how to say it and sign, and the throwing the fits ended because she could now communicate.
Sure. Yeah. I know I know a bunch of people who are teaching their infants, at least a few things. My sister's trying to teach my 1-year-old nephew all done, which is this, and he just throws up his hands and shakes his whole body. And they're like, close enough, we get it. So
it's okay. You're all done, dude.
we can tell you're good. Yeah, the flailing helps. So
that would be cool to just silently say something like,
sure.
Did you see Jenny?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And then people are like, "Oh, wow, that's amazing. They speak sign," and we're just, talking about Jenny. That'd be great.
That bitch got a big head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the sign for big? Yeah. Big
yeah.
head. Yeah.
Something like she's fucking conceited, bro.
Yeah.
So, did you grow up in the United States?
I did. Yeah. So, grew up in small town Indiana. Dad's whole side of the family is kind of up in the Michigan area, Toledo area. But yeah, it was my great grandpa who came from Lebanon. Literally just we're going to Toledo. Just a lot of our people are moving there. I'm sure you guys know it's a pretty big Middle Eastern culture right there. And it was weird because I've met other people who have come from Lebanon. And they're like, oh, yeah, I know my country. I know my heritage. I know this. But I found out there's a whole sect of people from Lebanon who said, we're in America. We're Americanizing. That is the old country. We're in the new country. So, my correct pronunciation, my last name is Haddad. But they said that's too hard to say. It's Haddad. It's just the word had and then dad. We're just going to stick with that. And ironically, no one says Haddad. No one even tries. Is it Haddad? Hey, Dad? Haddad? Yeah, it's for some reason the hardest name in the world. But
when you say it though, the way it's supposed to be said, Haddad, it sounds.
Well, it's really it's like Habib.
Sure.
Everybody wants to say Khabib. Like, no, that's not his name.
Yeah.
So you're Lebanese?
Lebanese. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it definitely got watered down is because I'm only a quarter. And it was kind of when my great grandpa came, he said, while we're going to Americanize, let's stick with the Lebanese women. That needs to be. And then my grandpa broke that chain, and then from there it's just been muddled ever since. So I'm married to the whitest Norwegian woman ever. So yeah, our kids are going to be barely Middle Eastern at this point. So.
She don't even tan. She can't.
No. Yeah, no. She goes out in the sun, and she can. I can hear the sizzle. So.
Oh man! So your grandpa found him a white woman. He's like,
he sure did. Yeah, she is. Yeah, he saw and he said, "I'm liking some German." Yeah. No, he broke the tradition pretty aggressively.
He fucking tainted the family tree.
Yeah. Sorry, Allah. We are Americanized. So
fucking. You know a lot about your culture from Lansing.
Pretty much, yeah. That's about as deep as I go. So
right. I'm real culturized. I live in Lansing.
Right, yeah. I like hummus, so I know a thing or two about Lebanese culture. So
is that where hummus is from?
I think it's a traditional like Mediterranean side dish. Mediterranean. I couldn't tell you much beyond that, but growing up, it was every meal we had, hummus as a side dish, some pita bread, all that sort of stuff. So it's running through my veins at this point.
Yeah, Mediterranean is my favorite food.
Oh, it's incredible. I think a lot of people are scared of it because they're like, what is this? And you just, man, it's the seasoning, the flavors. It's so good. So
it's a falafel.
I feel the same way, kind of like Indian food's the same way. You look at it and it looks almost like throw up.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But it is delicious.
Yeah. As soon as you get it made well, bite the bullet, try it out. It's incredible. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. My teacher made me try hummus one time, and I was like, this stuff is fucking fire. Once I learned about the Mediterranean food, dude, a chicken shawarma, bro, I will.
I know what I'm getting for dinner tonight.
Chicken shawarma sandwich, though. I don't really like the actual platter. I like the wrap.
Oh, okay.
The wrap is good. The shawarma platter is not that bad either. I like that.
I just love the sauce, the tzatziki sauce.
Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm. You get a good tzatziki, that's a game changer.
Isn't that
for sure?
Cucumber sauce.
Cucumber sauce?
Yeah. What is
tzatziki? Tzatziki.
Yeah. So it's definitely cucumber based. Kind of has a little bit of like a tang to it. It'll. Again, like most things, it'll have a lot of variety, but a good one will have that kind of good earthy vegetable base with like a bit of a tang to it. So,
yeah, I like the garlic sauce.
Oh, of course, yeah, garlic's good with everything.
Sauce. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the best things the Italians have done for us.
Garlic and onions and things. You don't know how to cook.
Yeah, for sure. I don't try a lot. I just get the shawarma. I get a bowl every once in a while.
Sure.
I like a good falafel. Nice falafel wrap also is good.
Do they just have the meatballs in there?
It's not meatballs, it's falafels, but yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you can get good falafel,
it's not.
They kind of look like giant rabbit turds. They're just big, kind of charred.
It's a vegetarian meatball, if you want to call it a meatball.
What is it?
It's basically, I think it's chickpeas. It's the same thing hummus is made from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's chickpea with a big thing, and then it's fried, deep fried. So
deep fried chickpeas.
Well, they make a meatball out of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
track it down. They're amazing. So.
And I tried one the other day, and I dipped it in garlic sauce, and I was like, bada boo. I thought it was a meatball.
I don't. It's kind of
kind
of like a better version of a hush puppy in my
opinion. That's a good
hush puppy.
Way better.
Mediterranean's very, very good for you too.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of it is fresh. You're not. Yeah, again, there's fried stuff. It's they understand, but it's usually it's a lot of fresh food, a lot of lamb. They don't use a lot of like red meats and all that sort of stuff. A lot of vegetables. It's good stuff, and if I can do, some Mediterranean over a McDonald's, I'll take Mediterranean. So.
All day. If I scope out a Mediterranean place, I'm stopping there.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have a go-to in Toledo? I've kind of scoured a little bit.
No.
Okay.
I haven't tried.
No, I didn't. There's a lot of them, but we haven't tried those ones. The one we have here in Monroe is it used to be Eureka Eatery, but
Sure. Yeah.
now all they do is they're like a Chick-fil-A now.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They don't even have nothing.
Those dudes, that place had the best chicken shawarma, the best falafel wrap that I've ever had in my life.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was what turned me on to fucking chicken shawarmas.
You're welcome.
In my life.
Yep.
I'll thank you for the entire your Mediterranean culture. You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'll take that one for us.
Yeah, and I just love hummus. I'm a fan of hummus.
Oh yeah.
Every way, shape, or form. Just raw hummus, not with the peppers in it or nothing.
Just straight classic. Yeah.
Just straight hummuses.
Yeah,
So.
and it's pretty easy to make. I mean, it's if you can find a good tahini, that's kind of the secret sauce in there. But yeah, I mean, if you have a good blender, you can make homemade hummus pretty easily. So.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. It's chickpeas, tahini, and garlic, and a lot of olive oil. But yeah, blend it all together, and it's real good. So.
The olive oil makes it more runny.
Yeah, that'll give you that kind of creamy thing. A lot of places, they'll give you your, here's your big thing of hummus, and then they'll spread some olive oil on top of that. So,
okay.
Yeah, we Middle Easterners love our olives. Let's just put it that way. Yeah.
My favorite snack, Mediterranean snack, would be garlic sauce and beets.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is
the best. That's the most fire appetizer I could get.
They got pickled beets, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh sure. Yeah.
Ooh, those are good. Mm-hmm. Those are good in a wrap. Those are good.
Yeah. Josh, you got good taste. I'll tell you that much.
What's the future for Talking Dog Film?
Yeah. So future is right now. I've got a couple different more legacy films lined up. I've got I've got a couple different not-for-profits who, just starting conversations. It's tough because, a lot of it is, so much of it is just kind of building that relationship. That's kind of really important to me. I don't want to just kind of come in guns blazing, like this much will cost this much. Like I want to because obviously that's how you get repeat clients. It's how good are you with them? How good is your conversation? So, I think the biggest thing is right now I'm kind of looking to invest in more of the business side. I kind of realized early on that is a side that I don't thrive at.
Like advertising and
advertising and, clients and budget, all that. Like it's vital, but that entrepreneurial kind of business degree side just doesn't come naturally. I could right side of the brain creativity all day, but I bought merch a while ago, but like my brain doesn't go like, hey, you need to build that and advertise that and promote that, because I'm just like, it's a thing you have. So which congrats on the merch, by the way. That's really exciting. It looked really great. So
thank you.
But yeah, so
right now he hasn't took it off since he got it.
I mean, when it's that good, why would you?
Right.
But yeah, so I think it's investing in the business side. I'm more or less a one-man machine, trying to find a way to bring someone on who can, take that business side, whether that's, social media, building a business plan, all that sort of stuff, and then just let me be creative. I, think it would thrive even more. So, I think that's kind of the next big goal, big jump is just, finding someone who's willing to say like, okay, let's just build this thing. So,
and it's pretty big right now.
Yeah.
All those video, like the extra footage you get, you don't use that to like put on your YouTube or anything?
Yeah. So I will, I have clients, the one business side thing is I have a contract that they sign, and I say, hey, I'll give you the final video, but everything I film, I get to use for promotion. Obviously if there's something sensitive, if there's something personal, I'm not going to put that in there. If I do a legacy film and someone's like, hey, here's the story of how my husband tried to murder me, I'm not going to include that.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's
a murder mystery podcast. It would be
yeah. yeah. If all else fails, I've got a lot of juice there.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's how can I use this? How can I? So like that, the one of Joe and Bev, the original video was like 15 minutes. And so, I kind of went through what's the personable stuff, what's the stories that, they don't want kind of more public. And then here's a 5-minute version that's more digestible, more, I can send to other people and say, this is a sample of what it could be kind of thing. So,
Right. Okay.
I'm as I'm editing stuff, I'm always kind of thinking, what's the, shortened promotional version of this that I can kind of put out there.
So in the contract itself, it says you can use the video.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was one of the first things a friend told me was make them sign a contract. It feels sleazy, but it's important because you're going to have people who, will claim, well, this is ours. We own this. And I was like, no, I filmed it. It's mine. I'm still going to give you the product you want, but that it's almost like as if you guys are putting this out on Facebook and Facebook says, well, you used our platform, so that's our podcast now. And you're like, no, that's not how this works.
Right.
So,
yeah.
So it's kind of covering all my bases and, knowing like, hey, I need to be aware that, I need to use this to build. So obviously if there's stuff you don't want, I'm going to respect that, but I own this. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. And of course, you're an adult. You can see, okay, this I'm not going to put this on here.
No, of course, yeah.
Because putting drama on there isn't going to fucking help anybody.
No. Yeah, no one wants to see, the horror parts of a beautiful love story. Right. I don't want to hear the, if I'm watching this beautiful story and they're like, and now let's go to the part where we almost got a divorce and our lives were miserable. Like, no. Don't need that in there.
John cheated on me with that Chinese hook.
Yeah. She was getting her nails done. Yep. He was speaking. I knew. Yeah. No need. Yeah. Yep. No need, Joe.
Maybe in a compilation video later, but no.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll do an end of the year, drama piece. That's just here's all the crazy shit. So yeah.
So like when you're going to show somebody, like if somebody asks you, like, hey man, what could you do? Do you go and show them a couple videos and
Yeah. I mean, if I have something that is kind of in the same vein, in a similar vein, I'll kind of maybe just email that or show them that. But a lot of times, if I do that, I say, and I want to make yours, personable to you kind of thing. So, this is a ground floor starting point. Yours could be completely different from this. But it's how many different not-for-profits, how many different testimonials can I do that I can use as a base to kind of present to someone and say, this is what it could be, but obviously we'll make it more personal to yours. So
yeah, this is what I do with these. And
right.
So you basically give them a structure of how it should go, or how this is how it works.
Yeah.
And they tell you how they want it to get made. So you're open to suggestion.
Yeah. That's probably one of the most challenging battles of doing, and you guys are running into anything creative is, a lot of people, they have the idea in their head of what they want it to be. And I'm like, okay, realistically, this is what I can do. And also, and I mean this in the most loving way possible, I know more than you. And I'm telling you, this would be better. And sometimes you win those battles. Sometimes you lose those battles. But, it's to me, it's, okay, we got to build up this trust and build up this relationship. So if I say, hey, this whole section that you really like, we got to cut out, and they're like, no, we got to. And I'm like, well, let me explain why that won't work. So,
okay.
So it's really just, I keep repeating myself as a broken record, but just if you have that relationship, you're going to have better results. I think that's true for any artistic front. If I'm recording an album and I hate my producer, the guy behind the booth, like, yeah, this isn't going to work. Right. So, it's just, if I can, again, sometimes I have 30 seconds to try and pull that off. So, just trying to do it without sounding like a, sleazy door-to-door salesman sort of thing. That's the challenge. So
that's, oh man, that would be an issue. But I mean, the customer's always right, man.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, no matter what, it's up to them. So, if I've had some where they're like, no, it needs to be this. And I'm like, it's going to be a worse video. And I might not tell them that, but, I give them what they want. And then I've had a few times where I will go back and I'll re-edit my version. And that's what I use to promote because mine's better usually.
Yeah.
And then other times I have been wrong where they say like, I'm telling you, this is the right thing. And we go back and forth. And eventually I'm like, you were right. You know this product better because I might know video better, but they're going to know their product or their service or their story better. So it's finding that balance and, building that trust.
So you let the customer be a part of the process, the art process.
Yeah. I mean, to a certain degree, I've worked with some where they're like, just give me something, I trust you, let's be done. But I feel like if we kind of go along it together, they have a better idea of what's going to shape up, what's going to come out. And, again, sometimes it bites me in the ass when they're like, no, you need to start over. But yeah, I've had a lot where they're like, I trust you, you know what you're doing, go for it. And then I give them something. They're like, this isn't what I wanted at all. I was like, well, why didn't you fucking tell me what you wanted?
Yeah.
You just said, go be creative. And I did. And you're like, this isn't what I wanted. So if I can just kind of from the get-go say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is what it's going to look like. I'll send you drafts. We'll work together. It just seems like that comes, back with better results.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah. And, it's that, collaboration, and I think we thrive better in community where, I'm sure, you and Josh, you guys working together, you created a better product than if I just tried to do this alone kind of thing.
Yeah, way better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He has strengths where I'm weak at, and I have strengths where he's weak at.
Exactly.
It's an easy, well-oiled machine.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just think, good if you can have a, really good, collaboration, really good partnership, I think things just work better. So, I might have a 2-month window where I'm working with a client and say like, okay, I have 2 months to try and, be the best partner I can. And, hopefully we can make something work. So, and, it has for the most part so far. I haven't had a lot of losses.
I see it being a little bit harder doing it all by yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because, to one degree I have to be self-motivated. That was kind of the biggest risk of doing this on my own was, I don't have that safety net of a boss and a paycheck. I'm going to get as much as I put in back. So, to one degree it's freeing because I'm like, I'm going to take the afternoon off. I talk to my boss and he's cool with it because it's me. Yeah. But to the other, it's like, man, I've not pushed myself to get new clients, to get new jobs, and I haven't had a gig in 3 months kind of thing.
Yeah, so, if I don't get going, I'm going to have to go get a job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, it's kind of just always, it's still, even after doing this for a few years, lingering in the back of my mind of like, is this worth it? Is it what I should be doing? I could just go get an office job, work in a cubicle, and just, be fine sort of thing. But I tried doing that for years and I was just unhappy and I just couldn't find my rhythm.
It's like torturous when you hate it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. I've worked too many cubicle jobs of just like, sitting down, punching a keyboard and you punch in at 9, punch out at 5. And it's just, I'm so happy that so many people are willing to do that, but yeah, I could not. So
some people love it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Totally cool with it.
Yeah, they love that, just that rhythm, that same thing, and I'm so glad you do because we need those.
That for sure feeling that you're going to get paid for doing this and all that. Sure. Some people are very good at it. Yeah, one of my good friends didn't even know he wanted to be a cook. He's a head chef for a 5-star restaurant now. His job.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I think it's just it's being open to whatever presents itself. Like. I could have just graduated school and said, I'm going to be my own boss. And I knew, even then, like, I'm not good at this. I need to learn some things to find my rhythm, find out whatever path I want to go on. And it took some time and it took some shitty jobs and it took some firings, but, it was just chiseling away at what was the best thing for me to do. So
what does a degree in communications entail?
So yeah, it's almost as generic as saying like I have a business degree. A lot of people with that will, go into public relations or marketing. A lot of people like being like, I'm in charge of social media. Basically all a communications degree is just understanding, people and media and how they interact with that and how to work with that and how to kind of, use that to influence and connect with people. So, again, I think a lot of people, like, if they want to go into journalism, might do communications. That's kind of like a branch of that sort of thing.
So it's the art of reaching out.
Yeah. I mean, reaching out through media. So, whether that is, music or TV, radio, podcasting now. Radio's kind of dead. It is just, I spent a lot of time studying, okay, during the like boom of the 50s where everyone's buying TVs, everyone's coming back from war, how was media used to influence people? How is it used to connect people? And so, yeah, it is really just the study of how to use media to connect people. And some people, they go into advertising and they come up with, sleazy ways of like, hey, buy our product. And other people, yeah, they go into marketing and say, okay, I want to create a social media platform for this thing. So, it's whatever medium they're passionate about, using that to, just connect with people.
So is that a recent degree then?
No, I graduated in 2012, so 9 years ago.
No, like recent, did it come out when like the media started coming out where everybody could access media?
Oh, no, I mean, I would assume, like I've got an aunt who got a communications degree and she graduated in I think like the late 90s or early 90s. So, I think it's morphed and evolved like media has. But anyone who's kind of driven by that, TV, radio, blah, 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 how can I enter that world? For as long as that's been around, I'm sure people have been studying it and trying to understand it. So
a
2012.
Yeah, I graduated high school in 2011, bro.
Oh, okay.
So like communications degree could land you at like a podcast business or land you at like a news, like a ESPN and shit. Oh, so it goes hand in hand with journalism.
Yeah. So like I initially, when I went to school, said I'm going to do journalism. I was really good in high school journalism, which is yearbook basically. But I said I'm going to college. I'm going to take the news world by storm. And I sucked at journalism in college because it was, you need to get in there. You need to get your story. Sometimes you're going to get, yelled at and screamed at. And I'm like, I'm too nice for this. I can't handle being screamed at to get a exclusive story on why the mayor slept with, his secretary. Like, I don't care that much. But yeah, so
I was on that lady.
yeah, 100%. Yeah. News at 5. But yeah, no, I mean, I think communications, a lot of people will use that to get into that industry. And like I said, it's generic enough that, if I went to, a podcast producer and said, I have a degree in communications, they would see that and be like, oh, that's within the realm of what we do. Yeah, you're good, sort of thing.
Okay.
So like I've got a friend who got a communications degree and he works in music business. So, not the same, but still within that realm of I'm using music to communicate with people. So
advertisement.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Pretty much anything that, you can contact clients, you can use a communication degree.
Communications is like a bridge builder.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It connects you to this island and this island. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So it's usually the big thing is like B2C, which is, a business to client sort of thing.
Okay.
It's my business is going to get to clients. So, that's all the advertising, PR, marketing, any of those. That's kind of the big umbrella that is communications.
94 episodes of me fucking being a communications person. I'm
Look at
asking.
that. You don't even. Yeah. You've got your doctorate by now, man. You're perfect. You got this.
Exactly what we do. That's what they go to school for. Everything.
Yeah, there you go. I wasted thousands doing what you guys do. So.
Hey, I got a degree too from YouTube.
Oh, perfect. There you go. Yeah.
I feel like me that being able to because YouTube, I didn't get the name of it until you're the TV now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's what it makes me realize that people, because you can learn some shit, and if you go to the depths of where people don't even have that many followers, there's some really fucking smart people teaching some crazy shit you have never even heard of.
100%. Yeah, yeah. And I would be lying to say, like, I've had many times when I'm working on a video and I'm like, how do I do this? And I type it into YouTube, and there's 15 guys who are like, here's how you do it. And
they show you a step-by-step fucking how to do it. They tell you where to put your mouse.
Okay. It's amazing. Yeah. Why am I wasting time going to school? I could just learn from YouTube. Yeah. It's
take your mouse 3/4 up the page.
And when YouTube fails, you go to Google.
There you go. Yes.
And when those fail, you go to Reddit.
Exactly. Boom. Yeah. I have too many resources now that I can't do anything at this point. So
well, I got a lot of older gentlemen and older ladies in my life. I go to them, like, some of it's life experience you need to hear.
Sure.
You need to fucking hear some of that. Okay, how do you fucking do this?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, again, like, I think, it's the whole thing of like street smarts versus book smarts. Like, I think you can get as far to a degree, but until you do it personally, and like, like I can read a book about how to do a video, but until I do it, I'm not going to know what I'm doing. So yeah, I think, talking with people who've been doing it for years, like, I think that is the greatest teacher, are, just leaning on other people. So
because when you've been trying to stay alive for fucking 70 years, you've
learned a thing or two. Yeah.
You know a lot about being an adult. When I was in I was in a nursing home at 25 years old, and these old ladies were like, dude, you're a baby. I'm like, dude, I'm in my 20s. And they're like, you haven't done shit yet. You don't even know. You just got done wiping your ass. Get the fuck out.
Yeah. And I'm sure at some point, I've kind of wondered, I'm 32. At some point, people will quit being like, you'll learn. I'm like, I mean, at some point, I think I got it. So, but also, if I've got another 50 years, I don't know what I'm talking about. So,
right. And I think if, like, with YouTube and shit, everybody's willing to share their knowledge.
Yeah.
And this generation's really good about that, like letting people in. Like,
oh, sure.
This is how you do it. If you want to do this is how you do it. You just have to fucking do it.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to be willing to. I mean, if you can put in the time to hunt it down, you can learn anything from, the internet. And again, it's finding the right source, it's finding the right people. But yeah, you can find anything.
People are more willing to work together nowadays than they were the last 20, 30 years.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, this is my island. This is my secret trade.
Yep.
You're not going to learn this. But now it's like, fuck, look, I know this. You should know it. It's great.
I do it too. You should do it.
Yeah. I mean, again, like,
do everything I know. You just do it.
Because the number one thing people do is they'll learn about it and they won't do nothing about it. They'll just know about it, and they won't put in the work or the effort to do it.
Sure.
Like, if it wasn't for Josh, I wouldn't know how to fucking stream live on any platform.
Yeah. But it took you learning. It took you, figuring it out. And now look what you guys have created, kind of thing. So. And
if it wasn't for my personability and me being able to talk shit in a room full of fucking people I don't know, then we wouldn't have got anywhere. It's a hand in hand type thing, like a balancing act. So
I think just we're in a weird phase where it's weird because, like, it just feels like everything is chaotic right now. But if you just kind of make the things a little bit smaller, you can find a lot of good and a lot of people just trying to help. And, hey, how can I help you with this? How can I do this? It's, but yeah, you got to look and you got to try, but just by
doing a podcast and getting people's word out there and stuff like that, there's people everywhere right around us that are just doing so much. And you're like, shit. And then you make friendships with all of them.
And then you realize there are hundreds of little towns like this that have people popping up doing stuff like this.
Yeah, yeah. And I genuinely, you know, I'm not trying to self-promote. Like, I want to highlight those things. I want to find a way to say, like, hey, person in small town Michigan, Ohio, whatever, you know, this amazing thing you're doing. And they're like, only my family knows. And I'm like, more people should know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, just how can we show those incredible things that people are doing just out of the goodness of their heart? They're not getting anything. So
100%. And that's why I love that we've had you on here, because that's exactly what we do too.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like I said, I've watched your guys, you know, since we started figuring out how to get me on, and I love the conversations you guys have and the honesty. And I think it's such a good, you know, it's such a good resource and, you know, a chance for you guys to use your platform to highlight some cool stuff. So
that's the first thing that drew me to it, because the first video we seen was the Joe and Bev.
Yeah, yeah.
So I looked at it and I said, Josh, this motherfucker just spotlights people in his community. Just spotlights his people.
He did,
tells
because
their beautiful story.
He's like, he's just like us. And at first I'm like, nah. And then he kind of explained himself a little bit more, and I go, actually, you're 100% right.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. And I think, again, it's that, you know, at first sight, it's like we're nothing alike, but we're trying to do the same thing, maybe in a slightly different way.
Yeah, it's your version of,
sure.
You know, everybody has their own different version, but this is what we're trying to do, because we're spotlighting videos and shit like that, and trying to get people's word out there. And you're trying to get, and what I like about what you do, especially with the Joe and Bev thing, fucking awesome.
Thank you.
It really touched his heart.
Yeah,
I seen a tear in his eye, and really.
Oh wow! All right, T, thank you.
Because that was, I mean, that's what everybody should strive for. Like when you see that, you feel heartwarming. Like, okay, if they did it, we can do it. Like,
sure.
If we're a new generation, we're a bunch of assholes. Doesn't mean, you know, like if it happened before, it can happen again. History repeats itself, you know. And then, like, even if you're feeling down and you're just like, holy shit, like it's been a bad week or something, like, but I really love this girl, or it like makes you feel about something, because you know, like, being with somebody for so long, dude, you're sick of them.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking away from fuck away from me, you know?
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Then you feel something heartwarming like that, and you're like, well, they did it 50 years. They did it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I haven't even been alive 50 years. We can do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and that's just what I'm, you know, it's whether that is just, you know, hey, this couple made it, we can too. Or, you know, oh, wow, they, you know, this person is doing this thing. I love that. It's just, I think it is just, that to me is the crux of why stories are so important. You know, it is just, that's what bridges. That's, as you said, like, that's that gap filler.
Like Big Al selling cars, but dude, he has a fucking great life story, and he's doing this, you know, and his family for fucking 6 generations,
and everybody has that story, you know. Everybody has those crazy stories in life that, or you know, they got stories from Grandpa's day, or they're rum runners or something crazy. Yeah, you know what I mean. Everybody.
All I want to do is get people's word out there, make a friendship, and then ask about what it's like to pursue your dreams.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm here for.
That's beautiful, man. I mean, I think we aren't being asked that enough. I think it's just like, hey, how are you? Okay, goodbye. You know, and so if we can find a way to just highlight, you know, what's your story? How do we have that connection? Man, we live in a really great place. This would be a good world if we could just do that.
Yeah, it'll get better.
Yeah, I have no doubt. I mean, things have highs and lows all the time. It'll make a comeback. I'm not worried about it.
All right. So plug in all your social medias, how to get a hold of you and how to reach you, and then I got another question for you.
Excellent. Yeah. So my name's Nick, owner of Talking Dog Film. Everything, Instagram, Facebook, website is all Talking Dog Film. My phone number's on everything. Just give me a call, text. You can email Nick at Talking Dog Film. If you've got a story or you know someone who has a story, I'd love to help capture that, whether that be a business, a personal story, a Joe and Bev story, or anything in between. Yeah. I love to help you capture that so more people can see it. So
Can you believe that when he told people that he was going to get married, multiple people thought it was to me?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because I'm questionable. I'm real questionable, and I love Josh.
Sure. Yeah.
A lot of people ask. I think 4 different people. Did you
I mean,
Josh?
what's more beautiful than guy love? I mean, when you have a true bromance, nothing beats it. It's a beautiful thing.
I got a few grown ass men that I hug and tell them I love them every time I see them, and that is the best. That is one of the best parts of me joining the Brain Jerk friend group.
Yeah.
When I got into this friend group, everybody loved everybody, and it was raw.
Yeah.
Everybody wore their hearts on their sleeve. I love that shit.
Yeah. And I think that's such a beauty. And when you see it, it's intoxicating. You're like, I want to be a part of this. I want to be loved that way. So
I feel good like this, and getting that masculinity out of the room, and just succumb to it, dude. I love you, bro.
TalkingDogFilm.com. Yes,
that's what it is. Yep, that's me.
All right, that's it. All right. I got one more question for you.
Let me hear it.
Last thing to say to the world. What are you saying?
Oh, geez. Fuck. Last thing you say to the world. Love yourself. Love one another.
Okay, that's perfect.
I don't know, man. I just think if we do that, we'll be all right. So
short and sweet. That's how I like.
Short and sweet. I don't know. Just get to the point, and I'll be done. So
that's how my wife likes it. Dude, thank you for coming on so much. I hope to see you go fucking multiple places, man.
Appreciate it.
Multiple.
You mean like to the mall and the barber shop?
Go to the mall and the barber shop. You need
I gotta keep this trim. Yeah.
We'll be talking to you, man. Thank you so much for coming on. That's it for episode 80 or 90. 94.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on, bro. See you later.